Well, welcome to our fifth in a series of how to use the Kansas State Budget Generator tool. In earlier episodes, I talked about the general overview, how to make changes to a budget, how to create a new budget, how to combine budgets. And in this last segment, I will briefly touch on actually how you can actually print budgets out. Again, funding for this tool was provided by the USDA NIFA through their Organic Transition Grant. All right, well, printing is actually fairly simple. Let me go ahead and switch back to the budget part of it again. And you can see what's going on here. So printing assumes that we have everything developed. And you can see there's options for what we can print. When you pull one of our PDFs off the web, that for our standard budgets that we do, you'll see that all three of these actually are hooked together here. So currently in the version that you have to print these one at a time. The only thing you want to do before you actually print things off, though, is just kind of click on this budget combo and make sure that the budgets that you want to print are actually selected here and part of this. One of the things you'll find out is if you forget to do this step where you don't have any of your budgets selected here to print that are part of this budget, is that you'll end up with a blank budget that basically just has a header and a footer. So if that's ever the case, come back to this budget combo page and make sure that you have the appropriate budgets that are included with that budget number. So like since this was an irrigated budget, there's actually two budgets actually tied to this. But if you went to a different budget that was non-irrigated here, well, let me pick a different budget. Here we go. All right, so here's just a dry land budget. You can see this was for budget 700. Make sure 700 is also showing up in this part here. If it's not, just come down here to the list of budgets and click on the one you want and make sure it shows up here. So that's the one issue you might have with actually printing things out. Well, the next step then is you go ahead and come to reports, and you can print either three levels of the budget. The short abstract, which is going to be the half page thing. The second one is going to be more the common one, probably about the 1 to 1.5 pages, and this detailed one, which is probably going to be at least 2 pages if you want all nitty-gritty detail. But let's just say you want to print the executive summary for now, so you'll go ahead and click here. You'll see your budget comes up, and you can go ahead and print this now. If you can't probably see it on your screen, but if you come to the very top of the window, you'll see a set of menus, and the first one will have should be the file menu, and under file is the option to print, and that will go ahead and print it directly to your printer. Now, one thing to keep in mind is probably something I need to fix in future versions is that if you try to print it without reducing your scaling or the size that this thing's going to print at, you'll find out you're going to cut about 1/3 of the budget off. So before you print, go ahead and select the printer options and change the scaling of your printer to print about, I think it's 65% of the normal size. That will get the entire budget that you see right here to show up on the piece of paper. Otherwise, the lettering and everything will be too big. Again, that's something I need to go back and dig through and see if I can actually change. But for the time being, if you want to print this out, when you hit the print button in the file menu, go ahead and change the scaling to 65%, and then this whole budget, as you see it here, will actually show up on your piece of paper. Now, the header and footer should show up on every single page, as you see right here. And the budget then will print over the series of pages it takes to get this thing printed out. And that's pretty much all there is to printing. Remember, when you want to go back away from this actual printout back to the actual tool itself, just come up here to the top with the mouse. And again, this button should unhide, and you can see it says return to a budget page. Click on that, and now you're back where you were, and you can print out other budgets. So that should be the end of this overview of how to print budgets.